I'm standing behind the reception desk at a boutique hotel in Prague when an American couple walks up to me, suitcases in tow. It's around 9 p.m. on a Wednesday. The husband looks exhausted. The wife looks frustrated. "We need to check in," she says. "Room under Davidson." I pull up their reservation. "Everything looks fine." "Perfect, Mrs. Davidson. I have you here for 3 nights. May I see your passports, please?" She hands them over, but her husband is staring at something behind me. It's a standard European wall clock showing 21 Ds in 24-hour format. "Excuse me," he interrupts. "Why does your clock say 21? Is it broken?" I glance back at the clock. "No, sir, it's working fine." "That's 9 p.m., he squints at it. "But it says 21. "Yes, we use 24-hour time here." "So 21:00 is 9 p.m. His wife touches his arm. "Honey, it's like military time." "I know what military time is," he says, a bit defensive now. "But why would a hotel use it? This isn't the military." I keep my smile professional. "It's standard in Europe, sir. You'll see it everywhere here." "That's so confusing," he mutters. "How is anyone supposed to know what time it is?" His wife looks embarrassed. I process their check-in quickly and hand them their key cards. As they walk toward the elevator, I hear him say, "I don't understand why they can't just use normal time. I've worked here for 4 years." That conversation happens about twice a week. If you're already recognizing these patterns, the tiny cultural moments that reveal something bigger, you'll want to stick around. This channel is where I unpack them in full, every week. But that was just the beginning. Last month, I was helping my cousin at his restaurant in Amsterdam. It was a busy Saturday night around 8 p.m. An American woman in her 30s sat alone near the window looking at her phone. She'd finished her meal 20 minutes ago. Her plate was cleared. She had her credit card out on the table. She kept looking around, increasingly annoyed. Finally, she caught my eye and waved me over with visible frustration. "I've been trying to pay for half an hour," she said. "Is there only one server here or something?" I was confused. "I'm sorry. Did you need something else? Coffee? Dessert?" "No, I need my check. I'm ready to leave." "Oh, yes, of course. I'll bring it right away." "Finally," she muttered. I brought the bill in a small leather folder. She looked at it, then looked up at me like I'd personally offended her. "You seriously made me wait this long just to bring me a piece of paper?" My cousin, who was nearby, stepped in. "We don't rush customers here. When you're ready to pay, you just ask. Otherwise, we assume you want to sit and relax," she blinked. "That's the dumbest system I've ever heard of." Then there was the guy in Stockholm last year. I was working at a pharmacy when he came in looking panicked. "I need Tylenol," he said. "I have a terrible headache." "You mean paracetamol?" "Yes, we have that." "No Tylenol. The regular stuff." "That's the same thing. Paracetamol is the medicine. Tylenol is just an American brand name." He stared at me like I'd told him the earth was flat. "But I need Tylenol specifically. I don't know what paracetamol is." It took me 5 minutes to convince him they were identical. He kept asking if I was sure, if maybe paracetamol was stronger or had different side effects. Eventually, he bought it, but he still looked suspicious. And then there was the taxi ride in Berlin. I picked up an American businessman from the airport. Nice guy, chatty. We're driving through the city when he suddenly says, "Hey, do you guys not have stop signs here?" "We have them, yes. Why?" "I haven't seen a single one. Just these weird triangle things everywhere." "Those are yield signs." "Right. But where are the stop signs?" "We use them less frequently than in America. Yield signs are more efficient for traffic flow." He sat back, processing this. "So you're telling me people just decide if they need to stop?" "They yield. If there's traffic, they stop. If it's clear, they continue." That sounds chaotic. We drove past 4 more yield signs. He watched each intersection like he was witnessing a car accident in slow motion. These stories, they keep coming. Different countries, different situations, but the same pattern. Americans arrive expecting the world to work like home. When it doesn't, confusion turns to frustration. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's exhausting, but it's always fascinating. I used to work as a tour guide in Barcelona. One afternoon, I'm leading a small group through the Gothic Quarter. It's late September, perfect weather, about 24 degrees Celsius. An American woman in her 50s keeps fanning herself with a map. "Is it always this hot here?" she asks. "Actually, this is quite pleasant. Around 24 degrees, she stops walking. 24 degrees? That's freezing. It feels like 80. Her husband jumps in. "Honey, that's Celsius." I know it's Celsius, but it still feels wrong to call this 24 degrees when it's obviously hot. I try to explain. In Celsius, 0 is freezing, 100 is boiling. So 24 is comfortable room temperature. But why not just use Fahrenheit? Everyone knows what 80 degrees feels like. Not everyone, actually. Almost the entire world uses Celsius. She waves this away. Well, they should switch. Fahrenheit makes more sense. Her husband has stopped engaging. I can tell this is an old argument between them. We continue the tour, but she brings it up 3 more times. Each time, she seems genuinely confused about why a system used by 7.5 billion people should accommodate American preferences. Later that week, I had a different group. Young guy, maybe 25, doing a gap year trip. We're at La Boqueria Market, and I'm explaining some local foods. He points at a sign that says 0.75 for a small item. "That's weird," he says. "Why do they put the comma there? That should be 0.75. In Europe, we use commas for decimals and periods for thousands. So 1,000 euros would be 1,000 $100. He looks horrified. That's backwards. It's just different. Neither way is backwards. But the American way is standard. Like for computers and stuff. The American way is standard in America. Here, this is standard. He took a photo of the sign to show his friends how weird European numbers were. I didn't have the heart to tell him that his confusion would only increase when he tried to buy something and couldn't figure out the payment terminal. My friend works at a hospital in Rotterdam. She told me about an American exchange student who came to the ER with a sports injury. The doctor asked his weight to calculate medication dosage. "About 160, the student said. The doctor paused. 60 kilograms? That seems... Yeah, I'm pretty average size." The doctor tried again. "You're telling me you weigh 160 kilograms? That's 352 pounds. The student's eyes went wide. "What? No, I weigh 160 pounds. Then you weigh about 73 kilograms. "Why would I weigh 73 anything? I just told you I weigh 160. My friend had to step in with a conversion chart. The student kept insisting that his weight was 160, and everyone else was wrong for measuring it differently. He couldn't grasp that weight, like temperature, used different units here. I've seen this confusion extend to the strangest places. I was working at a post office in Copenhagen when an American tourist wanted to mail a package home. She put a small box on the scale. "That'll be 95 kroner, I told her. She pulled out a 100 kroner note. "Okay, so that's like $95? "No, 95 kroner. That's about 14 US dollars. She looked at her money, then at me. "But this says 100. "Yes, 100 Danish kroner. So how much is that in real money?" I paused. Kroner is real money. It's our currency. I mean, in dollars. About $15 for that note. She seemed personally offended that currency conversion existed. "This is so confusing. Why doesn't Europe just use dollars? We have the euro in most of Europe. Denmark uses kroner. So there are multiple fake monies?" I gave up trying to explain that all currency is equally real and just processed her package. She left muttering about how complicated everything was outside America. The measurement confusion reaches peak absurdity with driving distances. My brother drives a taxi in Dublin. He picked up an American couple going to a hotel about 15 kilometers away. "How far is that in miles?" the husband asked. "About 9 miles. Can you put it in miles on your meter?" The meter shows kilometers. That's how we measure distance here. But we don't understand kilometers. My brother, patient as always, said, think of it as about 60% of the mile number. So 15 kilometers is roughly 9 miles. The wife pulled out her phone. Let me use a converter app. They spent the entire drive converting every distance sign they saw into miles, exclaiming each time about how weird it was that Ireland didn't use normal measurements. My brother said the 9-mile drive felt like 90. I work at a small cafe in Vienna. We're known for our coffee and pastries, and we get a lot of tourists. One morning around 10 a.m., an American woman comes in. She's maybe 40, wearing a business suit, typing on her laptop at one of our tables. She orders a cappuccino. I bring it to her. She takes a sip, goes back to typing. An hour passes. She's still there. The cup has been empty for 45 minutes. She waves me over. Can I get a refill? Of course. That'll be another cappuccino then. She looks confused. No, just a refill of this one. We don't do refills. Each coffee is a separate order. Her face changes. Are you serious? You don't do refills? No, this isn't common in Vienna. Coffee isn't bottomless here. That's ridiculous. Coffee refills are free everywhere. Not in Europe. Each cup is freshly made and priced individually. She closes her laptop with more force than necessary. This is such a scam. In America, you pay once and drink as much as you want. I try to stay diplomatic. Yes, but American coffee is often drip coffee kept in pots. We make each espresso drink fresh. Different system. It's still a scam, she says, but she orders another cappuccino. She doesn't tip. The tipping thing is its own endless saga. My cousin works at a nice restaurant in Prague. Americans come in, have a great meal, leave a 20% tip, then get angry when they see other tables not tipping at all. One couple actually stopped my cousin as she cleared a nearby table. Excuse me, did you see that those people didn't tip you? That's normal here. Tips aren't expected. The husband looked scandalized. How do you make a living? I'm paid a proper wage. Tips are a bonus, not my primary income. But that's not fair to you. You worked hard. I appreciate your tip, but other customers aren't being rude by not tipping. It's just different here. They couldn't wrap their heads around it. They left thinking every Czech person except them was cheap. They didn't consider that maybe, just maybe, a system where workers don't rely on customer charity might have its merits. I witnessed the opposite problem in Iceland when I was visiting my sister. She manages a small hotel in Reykjavik. An American guest came down to breakfast and sat waiting at an empty table. And waiting. And waiting. After 10 minutes, he came to the front desk, visibly irritated. Is anyone working breakfast today? My sister looked confused. Yes, breakfast is served buffet style in the dining room. I know. I'm sitting there. No one has come to take my order. It's a buffet. You serve yourself from the tables along the wall. He stared at her. You're telling me there's no table service? Correct. It's self-service breakfast. I paid $300 a night for this room, and you can't even serve breakfast. The breakfast is included. It's just buffet style, which is standard here. He went back to the dining room, but my sister could hear him complaining to his wife about the lack of service at European hotels. He never grasped that buffet breakfast was normal, not a sign of a budget establishment. The service expectation gap gets even stranger with shopping. I worked a summer at a department store in Brussels. An American woman browsed the clothing section for a while, then approached me. Do you work here? Yes, how can I help? I need to try these on. She's holding 3 dresses. The fitting rooms are in the back corner, just past the shoe section. She doesn't move. Aren't you going to start a room for me? A room? Yes. Take these dresses and start a fitting room. You can just take them to the fitting room yourself. There's no queue system. She looked at the dresses in her arms, then at me. This is how it works here? I just walk in? Yes. Weird, she muttered, walking away. My coworker told me she'd had a similar interaction the week before. An American man wanted her to follow him around the store with his items while he shopped, like a personal assistant. When she explained that customers typically carry their own items or use a basket, he seemed genuinely surprised. The strangest service confusion I've seen was at a bank in Warsaw. I was there doing some routine paperwork when an American expat came in. He'd been living in Poland for about 2 months. He approached the counter and said to the clerk, "I'd like to open a checking account." "Certainly. Do you have the required documents?" He pulled out a folder. "I have my passport, my work visa, and my lease." "Perfect. Please fill out this application form." He looked at the form, looked at her, looked at the form again. "You want me to write this out by hand?" "Yes. You don't have this digitally?" "You can fill it digitally, but you'll still need to print and sign the physical copy." "That's so inefficient. Why can't I just do this online?" "You can start the process online, but opening an account requires physical documents and a signature." He seemed personally affronted. "In America, I can open an account from my phone in like 5 minutes. This is Poland. We have different banking regulations." He filled out the form, but he spent the entire time muttering about bureaucracy and inefficiency. I don't think it occurred to him that different countries might have different legal requirements for financial institutions. I work as a museum guide at the Anne Frank House in Amsterdam. It's heavy subject matter, and most visitors are respectful and thoughtful. But about once a month, I get someone who says something that makes me question everything. Last spring, an American couple in their 60s came through. At the end of the tour, during the Q&A, the husband raised his hand. "I have a question about the timeline." "Of course. So this all happened during World War II?" "Yes, 1942 to 1944, for the secret annex specifically." He nodded slowly. "And World War II was the one with Hitler, right?" I kept my face neutral. "Yes, Hitler led Nazi Germany during World War II. Got it. Just wanted to make sure I had my wars straight." His wife smiled like this was a totally normal question to ask at the Anne Frank House. I've learned to just move on, but the geography confusion goes beyond history. I was working at a tourist information center in Edinburgh last summer. An American college student came in with a map. "Hi, I'm trying to figure out how to get to London." "Okay, London is in England. You'll want to take a train from Waverley Station." "Wait, England? I thought we were in England." "No, we're in Scotland. Edinburgh is in Scotland." She unfolded her map. "But Scotland is part of England, right?" I took a breath. "Scotland is part of the United Kingdom, along with England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. But Scotland is its own country. That's so confusing. Why isn't it just all called England?" "Because they're different countries with different histories, cultures, and even different legal systems." She still looked confused. "But you all speak English. Lots of countries speak English. That doesn't make them England." She bought a train ticket, but left looking unconvinced. I wondered what she thought she'd been visiting for the past 3 days. My friend who works at the Acropolis in Athens has even better stories. American tourists constantly ask her where the Parthenon is while literally standing next to it. But her favorite was the man who asked, in complete seriousness, "Is this the original Acropolis, or is that in Rome?" She told him, "The Acropolis is in Athens. It's always been in Athens, for about 2,500 years." "Oh," he said, "I thought all the old stuff was in Rome." Geography confusion extends to modern logistics, too. I was working at a rental car office in Lisbon when an American family wanted to rent a car to drive to Morocco. "That's quite a drive," I said. "You'll need to take a ferry across the Strait of Gibraltar." The father looked at his map. "A ferry? Can't we just drive?" "No. There's ocean between Spain and Morocco. You need a ferry or a flight." "But they're so close on the map." "That's the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. There's no bridge." He seemed disappointed, like the ocean was a personal inconvenience rather than a geographic reality. Then there was the woman in Brussels who asked where she could take a day trip to Paris. Paris is about 300 kilometers away. I told her, that's not far. Like a 2-hour drive? Probably 3 hours minimum, depending on traffic. Really? It looks so close. Belgium is small. But 300 kilometers is still 300 kilometers. She decided against it, but kept commenting on how everything looks closer on a map. I wanted to explain that maps are, by definition, scaled-down representations of reality, but I let it go. My brother had an American tourist in his Dublin taxi who asked him, in complete sincerity, if I drive north for a few hours, will I hit Iceland? My brother said, no, you'll hit the ocean, then eventually the North Pole if you could somehow keep driving on water. So Iceland isn't north of Ireland? It is, but there's hundreds of kilometers of Atlantic Ocean between us. The passengers seemed shocked that European countries weren't just connected by roads like American states. The concept of actual sea borders was apparently new information, but the most memorable geography moment I witnessed was at a hostel in Budapest. I was checking in next to an American backpacker who was maybe 22. The receptionist asked where he was coming from. Prague, he said. Oh, lovely. How was it? Beautiful. Really different from Paris. Yes. Czech Republic and France are quite different. He paused. Wait, Prague isn't in France? The receptionist and I both turned to look at him. No, she said carefully. Prague is in the Czech Republic. Huh. I could have sworn I was still in France. Everything still looks European. I wanted to ask what he thought European looked like, if not Czech or French or Hungarian. But the receptionist just handed him his key with a tired smile. Some questions are better left unasked. The best story I've got happened last month. I was working a late shift at the reception desk in Prague when an American businessman checked in around 11 p.m. He'd just flown in from New York. He was exhausted, jet-lagged and clearly running on fumes. He got to his room, came back down 10 minutes later in his pajamas. There's no bathroom in my room, he said. I pulled up his reservation. You're in room 312, correct? Yes. That's a standard room with a private bathroom. Is there a problem with the bathroom? There's no bathroom. I checked everywhere. This was odd. I'd been in that room a dozen times. Can I come up and take a look? Please. We go up to the 3rd floor. He opens the door to 312, points around the room. See? No bathroom. I walk to the far corner and open a door he's apparently mistaken for a closet. Here's your bathroom, sir. He stares at it. Stares at me. Stares back at it. That's the bathroom? Yes. But where's the toilet? I point at the toilet, clearly visible in the small bathroom. No. Where's the toilet room? That's a shower room. And then I understand. The toilet is in the same room as the shower. This is the bathroom. But where do you go to the bathroom? Right here, on this toilet. He looks genuinely distressed. The toilet and the shower are in the same room? Yes, that's normal in Europe. Everything is in one bathroom. But what if someone needs to use the toilet while someone's showering? Then they wait. He sits down on his bed. I can't believe you guys just put everything in one room like that. That's so weird. I want to point out that Americans are the only ones who find this weird. That most of the world doesn't separate their toilets into a different room from their baths. That his confusion says more about American bathroom design than European norms. But it's midnight. He's tired. I'm tired. So I just say, I assure you it works fine. Will there be anything else? No, he says quietly. I just need to process this. I leave him sitting on his bed, staring at his bathroom door like it's personally betrayed him. That's the thing about these moments. They're not really about bathrooms or measurements or tipping. They're about the shock of realizing that your normal isn't everyone's normal, that the way you've always done things isn't the only way, or even the standard way. Most Americans eventually adjust. They figure out 24-hour time in Celsius and the fact that the toilet and shower can peacefully coexist in one room. They learn that different doesn't mean wrong, just different. But there's always that initial moment of confusion. That split second where the world doesn't make sense because it doesn't match expectations. I've seen it hundreds of times now, and it never gets old. Because tomorrow, someone new will walk through my door. They'll ask me why the clock is broken, or why we don't have free refills, or whether London is in Scotland. And I'll smile, take a breath, and explain it all over again. These stories, they never stop coming.